big old mess, isn't it?
You got the whole family piled into a karmic wheel. You guys are on a karmic
Yeah.
wheel. You know that, right? You're on this amazing
Yes.
karmic wheel. So it would be great if we had a little bit more perspective on your father's upbringing, because my guess is that it was horrible.
Yeah.
And um,
I
so
think it was.
I think it was horrible. I think it was,
Oh,
I think it was horrible. And I say that because the Cancerian energy, a healthy Cancer is the most nurturing sign of the zodiac. It's the most self-sacrificial, unless it's been deeply wounded, in which case all signs have a light and a dark quality. We have our generosity, and we also obviously have our selfishness. We have our joy, our happiness, our love. We have our fear, our hate, our destruction, right? And it all manifests differently depending on the sign. The Cancerian, by its nature, when it's in its loving space, it is endlessly sacrificial with an enormous heart that is always just looking to nurture, right? It governs the fourth house. The fourth house is family, it's home. It is ruled by the moon. The moon is the feminine. It's just like my friend has a very healthy Cancerian father, and she describes him as one big hug. She says, when you're around
oh,
my dad, all you want to do is give him, he wants to hug everybody, and you just want to be wrapped in his arms.
I saw glimpses of that in my father. And even though he wouldn't say things, I was always trying to get confirmation of his love verbally and stuff, and really could never get it. But even when he was really angry or something, if you went and hugged him, he would just melt. But I never could, because I was
Yep.
like pissed myself. So my mom would go, why don't you just be quiet and be sweet and go sit on his lap like your sister Holly? And I was like, no, I am not going to do that. So
So if your father was on the path and you'd actually had the right resources, there's the possibility that he would have been able to unpack the heaviness of his upbringing and these deep wounds, and in turn
yeah,
obviously moved more to his loving, more to his nurturing side. Insofar as he didn't, he created an environment that your soul and your sister and your siblings, their souls all actually chose your parents as to be parents in an environment that they would be forced to grow through. Okay,
well,
so
that's for sure.
in the spiritual context, we don't believe in any of this as just some mere coincidence. We certainly don't see, when we evolve beyond it, we don't see it as a victim complex in the traditional sense, like, oh my God, I got screwed with such terrible parents. We start
Right,
to come into terms with this adversity, recognizing the amazing opportunity for introspection and growth.
right.
And no greater opportunity for introspection and growth exists than when we're being raised in an abusive, dysfunctional, certainly if there's alcoholic tendencies or substance abuse, because then it creates an erratic, unpredictable environment, right? And that one
Yeah.
of the top needs for a child, especially the Taurian, is the consistency and stability. And so when you're never given that at a very young age, it creates this wobbling effect of unpredictability, both in the life around you, so the people that you end up choosing as partners, as well as the sense of self. And so your chart, more than anything, actually wants great stability, but by virtue of never having it, never learning it, never enjoying it, never being able to look at the number one protector in your life, which would be your father, and having a healthy example set, which would have been by your mother, to create that atmosphere of love and compassion and consistency. By your soul choosing to come into an atmosphere which didn't offer it, and yet your chart needing it so much, it's indicating the most profound, the deepest of opportunities for growth through some of the heaviest of possible struggles.